Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rooted Mama podcast. I'm so excited for this episode. We have Azria joining us. She is a physique coach and the founder of Rise and Flame Fitness. In this episode, Azria shares her journey to self discovery, and she also offers realistic steps on how you can master your physical, mental, and emotional life goals. This was such a great conversation, and I can't wait for y'all to hear it. So let's get into the episode. All right, Azria, welcome to the podcast.
Hey girl, hey, I'm so excited.
So we were talking before this got started, and I'm like, all right, I don't even know where to go with this because you are like an octopus. You have your hands in so many things. But I think a good place to start is kind of just telling us who you are, what do you love to do, what's your backstory. Just let it rip.
Let it rip. Okay, I'll try not to bore you, but
Never.
yeah. So I'm Azria. I am a physique coach. I have a business called Rise and Flame, where I help women, learn to love their bodies from the inside out, and then obviously we help sculpt your body, right? So we provide meal recommendations, customized workout plans, and you know whatever you want. Like if you want to lose weight, if you want to build muscle, if you want to do a little bit of both, we do that. So I really want women to know the importance of loving their bodies and how important our bodies are because I love mine and I want everyone to feel that. So um,
Amen.
yes, I love to travel. I love all things fitness, working out. I run, I lift, I do gymnastics. I do a lot.
Yeah, so the gymnastics thing was something that took I was like, wait, what?" Like, I know that you were trained as a dancer, right? Like, you have been dancing your whole life. So whenever I saw the, like, tumbling and stuff, I was like, "Wait, when did she do this? Like, when did we start this?"
Yes, so I actually started gymnastics and dancing when I was like 4 or 5, and
Mm.
then I stopped everything at, like, probably 11. I never went back to dancing, although I did try ballet class in college, and I was not very good. So, but gymnastics, I started again as an adult, in my late
Mm.
20s, and I've been doing it for a few years, and I absolutely love it.
I
So,
love that. Like,
yeah,
I love that you went back to that because I feel like there's so many things in our childhood that we loved, so many parts of us that we kind of like put to the side when we become adults and then we just kind of say, "Oh, well, I'm an adult now, so I can't do that anymore." Like, who says you can't, right? Who
exactly.
says you can't do that? So, but I do wonder like how did you find it? Because most of the gymnastics classes are in fact for children.
I love that so much. So I said about a lot of the things that we enjoyed as kids because for me, I was just looking to get involved in anything that interests me. I'm a firm believer of live your life to the fullest. So anything that I
Mm.
want to do, I'm going to do it. So whether it's something I've done in the past or something I've never done before, I'm like, you know what? I used to love gymnastics. I want to tap back in. I want to get my round off back handspring back, which I did. I was like, okay, let's do this. So,
Yes.
yeah, I was looking for adult gymnastics classes, and I was like really nervous at first because I was like, I'm going to be the oldest one in the class. Like, I'm probably going to be with a bunch of 18-year-olds. And honestly, there's people of all ages. There's people that are in their 40s and their 50s. There's moms that come in with like 4 kids, and they're like, I used to do gymnastics in high school. So, believe it or not, a lot of adults are tapping into it. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, that reminded me that when I lived in Houston and I was in my, like, mid-20s, I was doing a lot of dance classes,
Hmm.
and I thought the same thing, like, when I started going and they said adults, but really it wasn't necessarily adults, like, you could be any sort of teen, and up. So I thought for sure I was gonna walk in and there'll be, like, 17-year-olds, and that was not the case. There were so
Yes,
many adults, so thank you for bringing that to the forefront because I do remember that as well. There's more of us out there who are adults who like want to continue to live and continue to do things that maybe others aren't thinking about or they're too afraid. So that's a really good point. And let
exactly.
And that brings me to something that you didn't bring up, and I was like, "We have to talk about this because I need to know all of the tea." You were
I
in pageants. You did pageants. How could you leave that out?
forgot about that. Literally, there's so many things that I do, and I love everything. But yes, I did pageants. I did pageants for 6 years. I actually, my mom put me in a couple of pageants when I was young, so I was probably
Okay.
like 5, and I did a couple back then, and then I stopped. I got really into sports. Um, And now I would probably, well, no, I think I was 22 when I started my first pageant. So I competed for Miss Connecticut USA. I did that for 6 years. My last year, I got second runner up in 2018, and I was kind of done at that point. They
Mm,
also had an age limit at that time. Now they don't have an age limit. So if I wanted to go compete again, I would, which I
hmm,
don't. I've outgrown that part of my life, but
yeah.
I loved pageantry. I loved
Wait,
it.
go like, we need to go from the beginning because, like, I literally know nothing. I know nothing, and I think it's really interesting. I knew that you did it, didn't
Yeah.
know anything about the world, and truthfully, the only thing that I did see was, like, hyperbole because it was, like, collars and tiaras and stuff like that, like, on TV, and I'm sure, like, some parts of it is, accurate, but at the
Yep.
same time, like, I would love to know kind of how you even get started and, like, what it entails.
Yes. So I love that you say the toddlers and tiaras because honestly, that's what everyone, when I used to say, oh, I'm competing for Miss Connecticut USA, they're like toddlers and tiaras. And I'm like, no, no, that's not it. Close, but no.
Yeah.
So pretty much, pageantry is, I mean, I don't really know what it is anymore. It has
Mm,
shifted and changed, and I don't really keep up with it like I used to. Before it was like pageantry is life for me.
mm,
But I know that when I competed, it was really about women empowerment. They would judge you on interview, they would judge you on your physique, they would judge you on your stage presence, your volunteer work, what have you done in the community. Just it, they really were looking for well-rounded women, women that had hobbies, that had a backstory, things
mm.
like that. So it was kind of this. I don't know. I loved it because I loved competing and I really wanted to win. And I learned so much from it. Like, I feel like I can walk into any interview and nail it. I feel very confident. I'm also a bit of a perfectionist as well. So I think a little bit of it comes from pageantry.
There's a lot of equipping that happens in pageantry.
Yes, yes, there's so much that happens behind scene. And I think that's kind of when I started getting into the fitness world as well. Um, because physique was one of the things that they judged you on. So 7 to 8 months out of the year, I was training. I was meal prepping. I was going to the gym every day, making sure I had abs, making sure my legs looked good. Like, so it definitely is a different experience. It's not for the weak because when you don't win and you work so hard to win, a lot
Mm,
of women fall into depression. I was one of them, and all my pageant sisters, every year when we didn't win, we would be so depressed until the next pageant, right? And we would do it again.
yeah.
So there is a lot that I also faced during that time. And then even just being a woman of color, pageantry wasn't as diverse as it is when I first started, in my early
Mm,
20s. So now it's so diverse. So many women of color have won since then. But when I first started, like, there were probably, I can count them on one hand how many women of color would win. So
wow. You know,
yeah.
there's something to that, like, when you said when you don't win, because when
Hmm.
you think about other sports and other events, you're really
Hmm.
being judged based off of, like, some action. So, like, I think about I was a cheerleader, right? So, we had to compete and, like, do competitions, and we had a routine based off of, specific skills. It wasn't judging you as a person, whereas with pageantry, you're presenting yourself. So, like,
Yeah.
when you don't win, it's like they don't like you, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure that's how it feels.
Yeah.
So and I never thought about it, but it's so true. Like, it would cause some mental, and emotional strain because you're like, they don't like me. Like, they pick someone else. And then especially if you, like, know the person who won, you're like, wait, I'm a better person than this person. Or, like, I look it's because like, you said they judge you off of interview, your community like, there's things besides how you look all
Yeah.
of those women are beautiful, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
So that
Absolutely.
means that the person who won probably isn't the prettiest. She's probably not
Right.
prettier than you, or
Right.
so,
Right.
like, it turns into, like, this thing where, like, why don't they like me as a person?
Yeah.
How can I make myself, you know,
Mhm.
likable to someone else? So this
Mhm.
is really interesting, and it
Yeah.
does play into a major theme of Rooted Mama, where it's like, how do you form an identity that you love
Mhm.
versus an identity that is, acceptable to an audience? And
Exactly.
how did you go about that? So you started off, well, you didn't start off in pageantry, but like that was the formative years of your life, like the 20s, right? And
Yep.
so how did you go about finding, like once you left,
Mhm.
you know, the person that you love, finding the person that you love?
That is a great question. So for so long, I had in my mind that I was gonna win one day, and that became my identity. So once
Mm,
it was done, I felt really lost, and I was super depressed because I was like, okay, now what? Because that every my career, like everything was kind of based off of that. I felt like I had to. The only way that I would be successful is if I won, right? Like that kind of became my identity for a while. So I think really after that, probably a couple years after that, I'd like to call it my spiritual awakening. And we've had this conversation before. I think that's where I went through so much at one point, and I really had to find myself. I had to face some of my demons and really learn to love myself again. Find out what some of my hobbies were, what are things that I enjoy. Because when I look back, I was like, what are my hobbies other than pageantry? Like, I don't have any hobbies. This is crazy. Like, this is insane. Now I can list
wow.
20 things that I love to do. But before I was like, oh my God, like, I, what are I don't have any hobbies. Like, pageantry is life. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but again, after my spiritual awakening, I started tapping into, this sounds interesting. I want to do that. Like, gymnastics was familiar to me because I'd done it when I was younger. I tapped into that, got back into like lifting and things of that sort. So, it's really just, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. For me, it was like I lost control of all the things that I thought I had control over, if that makes sense. And so
Mm,
sometimes that forces you to it, either sink or swim, right? Like that
yeah.
burn or rise, right? Which is like literally the name of my business, Rise and Flame, from that moment, because it's like you have two options. So what are you going to do? Right. And
Yeah.
so it's like I have to find myself, I have to dig myself out of this hole.
So I saw you after whole ordeal, right?
Yeah.
And I just felt like you didn't look like what you had been through, is what I
Yeah.
feel. Like you were this healed version of yourself. And
Yep.
so I do believe that you had to like go through, you know, this ordeal in order for you to like find out who you really were. And I feel like that's so similar with me, like my story, but my
Mhm.
big event was like motherhood. So like
Mhm.
and it wasn't even necessarily motherhood, like I hate even calling it that
Yeah.
because it was really like my daughter's birth. It was like my daughter's entry into life because she had such a difficult entry. But
Mhm. Mhm.
this like as you're talking about the things that happened to you, I
Yeah.
very much resonate and I almost feel like we have to have those moments even though they're difficult
Mhm.
because they really do push you to realize things about yourself that maybe you would have never realized if you didn't go through it. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I think that I appreciate everything that I've been through in my life, the good and the bad, because I think that has shaped me to be the woman that I am today. So, like, if I didn't go through literally the worst moment of my life, then I wouldn't be here. Like, here, I feel alive. I feel free. I feel like I'm able to inspire people now. It's just, it's different. I don't know. It's just something you just have to like go through, and you know what I mean, and you have
Mhm.
to learn how to sometimes turn like difficult moments like pain into purpose, find your light.
Yes.
Um and I think that's what I did, and that's why you probably see me like, what, like, you just went through that and you're good, and it's
Yes.
Yeah, but I also, I mean, I put in some work though. I put in a lot of like inner healing, and I
Please
mean,
talk about it. Please. This is what we're here for. Like, talk about, because truthfully, like, that's what I would say.
yeah,
Here's my question. It's like, okay, I've interviewed so many people. I've had great conversations with people, like even off of the podcast. And I do feel like there is something that is inside of a person who has perseverance,
hmm,
because not everyone does. Not everyone does. Like, so there's like, there has to be a seed. There has to be something inside of you that says, okay, this is the worst moment of my life. I'm
hmm,
going to go this way or this way, right? And one way leads to growth and another level of who you are, and the other direction could just continue. You can just continue to sit in something that, like, you'll just sulk or you'll just be a victim. You know what I mean? Like, so there's two paths. One is a victor, one is a victim. And
exactly.
how do you choose the victor route? What is it? Years ago, when I first decided I wanted to become the best version of myself, I went out and bought this beautifully designed guided mental health journal. I was so ready to change my life, y'all. But when I got home, I looked around my apartment and every table was covered in junk. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, every table was covered in junk. So I couldn't even write on this journal, even if I wanted to. I didn't even have a clear space to sit down and write. And that moment really hit me hard because before I could grow into the person I wanted to be, I needed some simple first steps just to get my life together. That's exactly why I created the Daily Survival Planner. It's a starting place. Practical, doable strategies to help you organize your daily life so the deeper healing has room, literally room, to actually happen. You can find it in the show notes, and podcast listeners get a special discount.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Because at one point I was like, you know what? I'm so down right now that like maybe I'll be a bad person too. You know what I mean? Like I thought about it. I
Mm.
thought about it, but it's just not in me. Um, I guess that's a hard question. But what worked for me was I couldn't really see like, oh, I'm going to build myself up and I'm going to be like, I couldn't see any light. I couldn't see any positive at all. So that's what
Mm.
I think the hard thing about it is when you're going through the trenches, you can't, there's nothing positive you could see. Like anyone that's ever been through some of the worst moments of their life, you don't see any positive in that. You don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. Like you have to be the light. You have to say, you know what, I have to just get through this. And so I took it kind of day by day. I started reading. I started meditating. I prayed. I think family helps, right? Family, friends, people that love you, care about you, like they just help. Their presence. Um, and then I wrote down what I do want in my life. I started thinking like, okay, like what now what? You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
everything that I thought was going to be my future no longer exists. So now what do I do? Right? Who I thought I was isn't even, it's not that, right? So like now
Yeah.
what? So I had to write down like what my goals were. I also like did this exercise. It's really cool. It's called like facing your demons, and you pretty much write down like, I don't know, for example, like I'm hurt, or I'm insecure, or I feel ugly, right? And so then you dive deeper and you're like, okay, well, let's go with I'm feeling hurt. Why are you hurt? What hurt you? You know what I mean? And once you
Mm.
kind of do some digging and you sit in that, cry, scream, do whatever you need to do. But then once you face that demon, it's like, okay, I'm hurt because of this. I'm hurt because of that. All right, like it sucks, but life goes on, right? And so we got to just pick up and we got to keep moving. So I gave myself a year to try to see if I would see any sort of improvement with all of the new things that I wanted to implement in my life, like fitness and meditating and reading and trying to get out of the house because I even had anxiety, like just going out. I couldn't
Mm.
even go out to a grocery store. Like I would be shaking getting out of my car. So I was like, I gotta
Wow.
move. I gotta do something, right? So, in a year, was I perfect? Absolutely not. I'm still not, right? But like,
Yeah.
I did I see improvement? Yes. Then eventually, I seen progress. But when you're in the trenches, you don't see progress. You don't see anything. Like just
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's such a good point that you had to become the light because there was none. So you had to
yeah.
choose, okay, I'm the light and I'm gonna have to guide myself. I'm gonna be the light. I'm gonna be the trail. I'm gonna be right?
Yeah,
Because like I don't you had to get to the point where you're like, I actually don't want to be this, right? Like I
right.
don't want to be this. I know I don't like what happened. I don't know who I want to be, but I do know who I don't want to be. I don't want to stay like this. And so that's a really good point. When you said I was shaking, I couldn't get out of the car and I'm like, meanwhile you like go on trips alone now, right? So like look at where
Oh,
you were
crazy, right?
then. Yes, and now you're taking solo trips and stuff, so it does
Crazy.
take that one initial step, and then you take that step and you just keep taking steps, and before you know it, you've made it out of that trench. Now,
Yeah.
is there any particular measure of like how you were making progress? Did you say in a year I'm going to see if I feel better? In a year I'm going to be able to leave the house? Like was there any measurement of like how you tracked that you made progress?
I love that question. I didn't have anything like totally specific, but I did have a journal. So I was doing a lot of journaling. Writing down my feelings obviously helped too. And then I had a list of goals. And then I also did another exercise. I told you I did a lot of work, and it was also
Yes,
COVID during
share.
that time. Yeah, so it was COVID, so I couldn't leave actually for a little bit, and so I was in the house a lot. And I did like this higher self exercise where like I meditated and I wrote down who I envisioned my higher self to be. What does she look like? What does she wear? How do people feel when she walks in the room? What does she do? What does she like? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
what are her vibes? What's her body like? You know what I mean? Like all like so specific, like everything. What is she wearing? What color is she wearing? Like who is this girl?
Wow.
And so
Yes.
so that was kind of like, and I'm still trying to find her. I'm very close though, but I'm still trying to, get to her. And so that like helped motivate me. And then when I would achieve something, I would check it off of my bucket list. I
Mm.
also was 145 and in 2 weeks went down to 110. So I was very, very like physically ill, very physically ill. Like you could see my ribs. It was really bad. And so one of my goals again was being 140. But first I started
Mm.
off, okay, first get to 120, get to 130. So like I guess in a way that's how I would measure certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so little baby steps. It's kind of like being in a tunnel, a black tunnel is how I would describe it. And it's like if you are in a black tunnel and you cannot see anything at all, no light, it's just dark. Do you walk forward or do you just ball up and
Mm.
sit there and rot? You know what I mean? Or do
Yes.
you say, you know what, I'm gonna walk. I don't know what's in front of me, but I'm just gonna do it. And I think that's kind of what I did. So
Yes, I love that analogy. It's so true. Are you just gonna sit there? You're not gonna get out of the tunnel. If you stay, you're not going to get out. So you're just gonna stay there in perpetuity and do nothing. And a lot of ways that is the metaphor for what is going on with a lot of people, where they do stay stuck. And so how about this? Let's talk about how you support some of your clients or like how do you support them in getting out of, where they started to getting them to their goals?
yes. So one of the first things I do, like when my clients purchase a package from me, they get like a workbook. Um, And within that, there's like this quick little exercise. It takes like 1 minute and it's called, or it pretty much tells you to hug yourself. And it's like, I know this is cheesy, but literally you hug yourself and then it's a mantra that you say out loud. And it kind of, in a nutshell, it's like, I love my body. I love all that it's done for me. Like, because I think a lot of the times we get so caught up on physical and a lot of women come to me because they feel insecure about their bodies. But I'm like, I want to, obviously, we can always improve. We can always improve. Anyone, right?
Right.
But I want you to first start off by learning to love your body from the inside out because your body wakes you up every day. When you're sick, your body heals itself, right? When you go through whatever you go through in life, your body is there. Your body gets you through each day. So we have to learn to appreciate and love the body that we have right now. But of course we can tone up, right? Like
Right.
of course we can get more fit, more lean, like obviously, right? But let's kind of start with this part first. And so And then we also do like photos so they could see where they started off. Because a lot of times they're like, oh, like I still feel insecure. And I'm like, well, look at your before photo from 3 months
Mm,
ago and look at what you look like now. Like you've made improvement,
yes.
right? So,
Yes. That's a good
yeah.
point. Yeah,
Hmm.
I wish like so for that, like you take a picture before and after and like you literally can see. And
Hmm.
sometimes the emotional and spiritual side of things you can't really see that way. But I wish there was a way that you can track, because a lot of people feel like they'll set goals, right? Like let's say the goal is something simple like I'm going to like make my bed, right? Or something like that, right? And they'll say, "Oh, well, I never make my bed." But really they make their bed like 2 out of the 7 days of the week. So is
Right.
it true that you never make your bed? Or like they'll set a goal, "I want to be more confident." How do you
Hmm.
track that? How do you track confidence, right? It's
Hmm.
so difficult to do those things. So it's like trying to establish goals that actually make sense, mentally and emotionally, so that you can feel the same way that you feel physically. Like you can look at a picture and say, look at where you started, look at where
Hmm.
you are now. You can't necessarily do that for some of the other aspects of life, but I wish that you could
Me
because
too.
most people are doing better than they
Yeah.
think they are most of the time in most things. If you're trying, you're doing better than you think you are.
Yes. Yeah, I love
Right?
that you say that. Yes. Because like literally, like sometimes I I'm kind of hard on myself, right? Like, I'll be like, oh my God, like my body's not where I want it to be right now, and that comes from being a recovering perfectionist. But I'm like, oh, like I could be a little bit more muscular, like I could be, gain a little bit more weight, blah, blah, blah. But then I have to check myself because I'm like, you don't always see progress right away, right? And
Mm,
so when I reflect and I look back at the girl that I just told you that was 110 pounds, her goal was to be 140, right? Like her goal
yeah,
was to gain weight and to be healthy and to feel healthy and to feel good inside. It's like I did that, right? And so sometimes it takes a little bit of reflecting too to realize how far you've come because we always want more as humans and sometimes we're never really satisfied.
yeah,
Yeah, I think reflecting helps for sure.
yes. So, what does your day look like? Let's talk about this. So, we're getting confident. We're one of your clients, okay, right? And like we want to know what your day looks like. How do you stay mentally well? How are you staying fit? What are you eating? What's going on in your life?
Ooh, that's a good one. My day look like? I don't even know. Like it's crazy. It's always something. Every day is different for me, really. Um, gosh, I would say typically, um, I when I wake up in the AM, and again, my days are always different. So I'm not going to even say that I journal every day because I don't. Um, but I like to try to fit in a little bit of meditation. I don't always want to go on my phone the moment that I open my eyes because I don't want to be influenced by what's happening on social media or what's happening in other people's lives. So I try not to do that. I always thank God. I'm like, thank you that I woke up today, right? And then if I work, I do work a 9 to 5. I'm also a corporate girly. So
Mm,
if I'm working that day, I work my jobs and then I always go to the gym either before work or after. So I have to make time for it. It is a lot, but it is my lifestyle. It's what I do. And I love to work out. I feel good after. So I do that. And then I'll run after that. If I have a client, I may do that instead. And I think what helps me too is eating healthy throughout the day. I don't think people
mm,
realize that the healthier you eat, you truly do feel, you don't only look better, but you feel better.
yeah.
So I try to eat like whole foods and things like that. And
Is there
um,
any specific like diet that you're doing? Not literally diet, but like, the nutrition side of it. Is there something that you're prioritizing?
yes, I like to eat a lot of protein because I'm trying to get the gains, trying to build some muscle. So I do eat a lot of protein. I like a lot of whole foods. I love healthy foods. I love fruits. Love fruits.
Mm,
And I don't like to eat like preserved food because it doesn't. I don't really feel good when I eat it. Sometimes I get a headache. So whole foods, lots of protein, lots of fruits, vegetables, like those are all like very good things for your body, your mind, even your mental. Uh,
Mm.
those are very, very like good foods to have.
Yeah, I totally find that if I don't eat predominantly whole, real foods,
Mhm.
my emotional stability is, like, not stable. I become
Is
very
it?
unstable. Yeah, I become very unstable. It's something that I, like, try to talk to people about, but they are very resistant to it still. I think that, the media and stuff has done a really good job of convincing us that what we eat does not correlate to our health or definitely to, like, our mental health, you know? If you're not eating real food, that's the best way to describe it because there's so much food that literally is not real. You were so sweet, you were like, "Whole foods." I'm like, "Real food, real food." That's the pageant, Azria. You're like, "Whole foods, no preserve." I'm like, "Girl, it's fake, the fake food."
You don't know what the ingredients are. If I cannot read the ingredients, I am not eating it. Like they have
Yeah,
like
if I
one
don't
word, like 35 letters. I'm like, I can't pronounce it and I don't know what it is. I'm not eating it. I'm
Yeah,
good.
like there is something to that. Like I'm going to say it out, say it with my chest that real food is going to be good for your body. The other foods, the pretend foods with all the long words and stuff, they are chemicals. Like most of the
Yes.
time they're not food. And so they are going to interact with your body and like you may be feeling anxiety or all these other mental health things and thinking that they're unrelated. It
Mhm.
may literally be the things that you are eating and then the other thing is,
Yep.
like you said, like being active. So we have different lives. I have 2 kids, they're home with me. And so like it's very difficult for me to have a consistent routine like around being active. Like that's kind of
Yes.
like my goalpost is like being active versus like doing a full workout at this point. But I have to prioritize even when if they're with me, I have to do it because what I'll notice is if I go too many days without movement, activity, like physically paying attention to my body, I'll
Mhm.
start to get body aches. I'll feel stiff, and mentally, I'm feeling more unstable. And
Mhm.
sleep, like
Yes.
if I'm not active physically, like moving my body, my sleep becomes disturbed. So there's
Yes.
all these things that come into play where
Mhm.
like you look at someone who's a fitness coach or whatever and you think, "Oh, well they're just doing that for." No, they're
Yeah.
literally doing that because it actually benefits you to do
It
these
does.
things in multiple ways.
It does. It does. It's healing. It really is. Like body movement is healing. Eating healthy is healing. Like being in nature, like all of the things that are natural to, the universe. It's just all healing. And I think that body movement is huge. It's huge. It's so easy to get depressed if you don't move your body and you sit there. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like do something, find it, dance. I know I work with a lot of clients that work 9 to 5s or that are moms that are super busy. And they're like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to go to the gym or I don't have time to go to the gym. No problem. We got a workout for you at home. Like you just
yeah,
get some resistance bands, get some dumbbells. Like even if you want to work out at home or even if you want to, like I said, dance or something. There's something you can do. You know what I mean? They got those little walking treadmill thingies now you can put in your house. I don't know what they're called,
yeah,
but
I
so,
got it.
walk something.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta move though. That's really important.
So how much movement do you think is good for someone like who's starting out? What would you say like if they only can do in their home, how often should they be doing that and what would you suggest as a starting point?
That is a great question. I think 15 to 20 minutes of movement and you can work up to 30 minutes, 45, an hour, but 15 minutes, imagine like just 15 minutes a day. Like that
Mm,
makes a huge difference. And I think we all have time for 15 minutes a day. We really
yeah.
do. Like, think about how long we're on social media, scrolling. Like we have 50, take 15 minutes to yourself. Like whether you have to like close your bedroom door and do some exercises there, but that's all you really need to kind of get into the hang of things.
Mm.
But yeah, I would say 15 minutes is a really good starting point.
And then you said even if it's dancing, even if it like just
Yeah,
doing something that is physical.
yeah, yeah. A lot of my girls too, they take classes. They'll like go out and do like you said in Houston, you did dance classes. Like they'll
Yeah.
they'll do dance classes or they join run clubs. Like I'm in a run club, a couple of them actually. Like they just do just anything with the community, any group sort of Zumba. That's another one. I'm not the best dancer in the
Mm.
world, but Zumba's fun, right? Like just little things like that, or even workout classes. Like there's so many things you can do to make it a little bit more fun, so it's not as boring. But if you want to stay home, you could do that too.
Yeah.
You only need 15 minutes a day.
So, how are you finding these communities? Because this is a big issue. So, a lot of people are lonely these days. It's like a big issue. A lot of women say they have trouble finding friends, trouble keeping friends. So, how are
Mhm.
you finding your community in 2025?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, well, if I think of the run clubs that I'm in, I found those through social media. So if there's something that they're interested in joining and you have like Facebook or Instagram or even TikTok, just Google like run club near me or run club,
Mm,
I don't know, whatever state you're in, or dance classes at this place. Like for me with gymnastics, I just Googled adult gymnastics near me. And I found the gym that I go to now. But I would say that I'd say jot down a list of uh, things that you might be interested in and then just Google them or look on social media and see if you can find them. And believe it or not, it seems scary at first when you don't know anyone and you do it by yourself, but you end up meeting so many people, like minded people, which is really nice. So,
yeah. So, it sounds like the first part is really getting in touch with yourself and figuring out who you are, right?
mhm,
And I love that you gave some of those exercises. So, girlies, if you're listening, like I would definitely check those out and like think about it because I agree. I think it's important to spend some time with yourself and figuring out who you are,
mhm,
and what you like, what you might like. I like that you said that. You don't know what you like. Maybe you've been in some season of your life where like you were focusing on one specific thing, like Azria, with the pageantry,
yep,
and then you don't do that anymore, and now you're trying to figure it out. Take some time to say, okay, what might I like? What might I like? And go from there and then look up, maybe some classes. There might be, again, there's some moms listening. So sometimes it's just hard to get out of your house,
I
with the
mean,
kids. And so maybe you can look up virtually like a book club
yeah,
or something like that. Just kind of like trying things, and you have to be willing to try, right?
yeah,
Because you're not going to get better just by wishing. I
no,
mean, I listen, I pray. I stay prayed
yeah,
up. But at the
yeah,
same time, faith without works is dead. It's literally in the Bible. Like you have to do something with that faith. You have to like try. They're not just going to like the community likely is not just going to walk and show up on your front door. There's a level of putting yourself out there that is so true. And this brings me to the traveling. I can't let you go without talking about where you've been because you are all over the place.
I love it so much. I love to travel.
Yes. When did you get up the courage to take your first solo trip? Because you mentioned being very anxious about even leaving your house when you're in the thick of it. So when did this come about that you're ready to take a solo trip?
Yeah, so I okay, so once I came out of my little funk, there were a couple places that I wanted to visit, that I did end up visiting with like friends and things like that. But then I really wanted to kind of explore. Europe was on my bucket list. I wanted to hit up Italy and Greece. And at that time, I couldn't find anyone to go with. Me and my friend wanted to go to Greece together, but our schedules didn't match up. So I heard about this travel group that you can join, and they pretty much plan the entire itinerary out for you. and you end up meeting a group of people that are all solo travelers. And that was my first solo travel experience. So I loved it. And after that, I did it again and went somewhere else, went to Africa after that. Um, and then literally I leave next week to go to Aruba for the fourth time. But this one is completely by myself, booked it by myself, booked my own itinerary. So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, you
That's
just gotta be
ac
safe as a woman, obviously, but it's
Right,
fun.
right. So,
Yeah.
I love that there's a group that you found.
Yes.
So this is like a continuing theme with you, so you know how to find a group.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Listen, groups are in. They help. They help because you're meeting people that are also nervous and they have the same feelings you have. Like, a lot of the girls that I met in that group, which some of them I'm still friends with to this day, we were all like, "Oh my gosh, we didn't know what to expect. We're solo traveling." Like, we did not know if we would like it, if we'd be scared, if we'd make friends, and I ended up leaving with one of the best trips of my life and friends. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So, I mean, you just gotta get out and test the waters, you know?
Yeah. Okay, last question, it's probably gonna
Yeah.
be like a heavy-hitting question, but you mentioned social media, and we're finding groups on social media and in your community and all those things. What I wonder is, what is your advice to a woman who is overwhelmed by social media? Like, especially if she's dealing with confidence issues, she's working on herself, she's working on her body, but then she goes and she sees all of the images on social media. Like, what is your tip to that woman?
That is that is a great question. Great question. I think it's so easy for anyone to get caught up in what they see on social media. I mean, I do sometimes, and I have to check myself again, like, hold up, this is someone else. So I
Yeah.
think try not to compare yourself to other people. Everyone's on a different journey. Everyone is different. Everyone's goals are different. You also, don't know what it took for that person to get to where they are. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people look at me, they're like, "Oh my God, you're so happy. You do this and you do that. And like, your life is so perfect." No, girl, it is not. It's not. I have fun though. It's not also, it is not. Okay. No.
Yeah.
But and it took me a lot to get here. It took a
Mm,
lot. People didn't see the worst parts of my life. They didn't see that, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't put
yeah.
that on social media, so,
Because you
just
don't, right? We don't put those parts on social media. That's a fantastic point.
we don't. We put, the fun things, right?
Mhm.
The best moments of our life on social media, but when we're in the trenches, we don't put that on social media, so, people don't realize sometimes what someone else has gone through or what it took for them to get there or the work that they put in to get there, and also they're on a different journey than you. They're on a different path, so just kind of focus on yourself. Your only competition is with yourself and who you were yesterday, so how do you be a better you? But try not to compare yourself to other people because that will drive you crazy. That will drive you nuts. Like, then you're going to try to be like someone else. And yeah, yeah, just focus on being a better you, I think would be
Yeah.
the best. Easier
I
said
think
than done.
it is, but I think it is very accurate because you can do what you did. So I like that you have your clients look at their before, and
Yeah.
that person could do the same thing. Like, truthfully, this just came to me, right? You could, in theory, have a before profile in
Mhm.
general, like not on social media, but like you create in your journal, like who you are right now, literally what is going on, like be truthful, right?
Yeah.
And then over the course of time, you could take a photo, right? You could do all of that, like one page of who you are. And then
Yes.
over the course of time, you can go back and look and see, am I this person? No,
Mhm.
I'm not this person anymore, right? That's a good
Mhm.
way to track and compare to yourself, because you're likely going to be better off than where you were, where you started, in at least one area. Maybe you started off with this amount of money and then you had your car broke down or something and then you don't have this, but like other
Yeah.
areas you're still doing well, because that's another thing too, right? People
Yes.
will say, "Oh, my life is so bad because of one thing." Wait, wait, wait. One
Mhm.
thing is going wrong, but the rest is still going right, you know?
Exactly.
So we can't let the one thing overshadow all of the other really great things going on.
Exactly. I love that you say that because there's always going to be like life is never going to be perfect. There's always going to be things that happen. Right? Like life is kind of like the waves. Like things come and things go, good and bad. And so um we can't get too caught up on the bad things. And then another thing too, I think it's a mindset shift because what we sometimes determine as bad isn't necessarily bad, right? It could
Mm.
be protection. It could be a change in direction. It could be like not everything that we perceive as bad is. And so I like that you brought that point up. And I think just trying to be grateful for the things that you do have can most likely outweigh the bad. So yeah.
Do you feel like you have to actively remember the things that you're grateful for now? Or are you at a point where you can kind of operate going through life just feeling grateful?
Great question. I try to go through life feeling grateful for sure. It's the moments where like I'm having a bad day or something doesn't go my way or something, I don't know, that I perceive, right, as bad happens where I'm like, okay, check yourself, girl. Listen, you got this, you got that, you've done that, you've accomplished that. Like, you need to be grateful for the things that you do have, right? Um, there was this book that I read. It's my favorite book of all times. It's by Pima Trojan, and it's called When All Things Fall Apart. And there's this part in the book
Mm.
where she talks about how there was a son who him and his well, first of all, there was a family that lived in a village and they were very, very poor. They couldn't have kids. Finally, like out of nowhere, the mom had a son, and the parents were so happy because they were, I guess, I don't want to quote it 100%, but I guess the parents were like I guess, ill. They weren't able to work. And so that's why they were poor. And they were like, we're going to raise our son to be strong. He's going to make us money. He's going to get us out of poverty. And the son became just that, right? And then one
Mm.
day he fell off his horse and he became crippled from the waist down or the neck down or something like that. And they thought, my God, our lives are over. Like everything that we worked for, everything that he worked for is over. Like he's crippled, right? And then a few days later, the general or whatever you want to call them, they come in and they're like, "Listen, we're taking all the men that are in this age group to war. All of those men
Wow.
to war, but their son did not get. He
Yeah.
didn't get him to war because he was paralyzed or he was crippled."
Yes.
And so I always think of that story of how that family must have thought, wow, this is the worst thing that can ever happen to us. But in fact, it was protection. And so those are some of the things that I try to think of when I have a bad day or when something doesn't go my way. Or I'm like, you know what? Is this really bad? You know what I mean? Like it sucks, it stings, but like, is it necessarily bad?
And I ask because I do feel like it becomes easier. In the beginning, it's harder when you're
Yeah.
like in that tunnel. But then over time, it does become easier to, kind of roll with life, and
Yeah.
you can, in the beginning, you have to be like, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. And then
Yeah.
after a while, you're kind of like, no, this is like, I know that I'm being dramatic about this thing, and let me check myself and remind myself of what I'm grateful for. But it just becomes easier to like self reflect. And I love that story too, because it is so true. Like some
Yeah.
things that we say are bad are actually for our good, and we should be grateful for that.
Yeah. Girl, listen,
All
I'm done.
right. Yes. Yes. Okay. This has been great. Last question. How do we
Yes.
find you? Where are you? Are you on the internet?
Yeah. If I'm not in a different country, just kidding. I'm here.
This week
Maybe
you're here.
maybe on a train, but I'm here. Yes, you can find me on social media at azriaroundtree.com or on azriaroundtree.com. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I use my first and last name for everything. So, yes,
Okay.
follow me, email me, whatever.
Perfect.
Or just
Thank you,
say hi.
Azria. Yeah,
I love
just
it.
say hi.
Just say hi.
She's actually this real person. Like, just so y'all know, she's this exact person in real life.
It's me, y'all.
All right. Well, thank you, Azria.
Thank you, Destiny. I appreciate it.